morning and good luck, and welcome back to Good Luck with Gino. I'm your host, Gino the Ghost, and we're here with episode 22. Now, here's the first thing you're going to do if you're listening. If you're on Apple Music or Spotify, why don't you go ahead, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, which, as you know, you should be. And why is that, listener? Because I look incredible today. We got the Lucidia tee from my boy Fuck Render on, an incredible digital artist. The pinky ring glistening, tennis chain by St. Jules glistening, the Tony Soprano Rolex doing what it does, right? Tell them the time. And the time right now is it's time for you to make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, to leave a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Welcome to the show. It's been an eventful week. Let's see, what happened? Oh, yeah, there was a hurricane in LA. I think that was this week. Maybe this was like the day before I recorded my last podcast. I don't even remember. The time is blurring, but I do want to talk about this hurricane. We had a hurricane earthquake in Los Angeles here. We had a Hurriquake, which is the first time that's ever happened. And that's fine. This is totally normal, right? Climate change isn't real. It's a myth, right? No. The world is ending. Hawaii is still on fire, I think. So that's cool. Honestly, the hurricane was a big nothing burger here. It like drizzled for like 7 hours. There was some flooding in parts of California that I don't live in, so it doesn't affect me. And that's it on that. Moving on. Yesterday, I got a fucking flat tire in my Tesla. And when you get a flat tire on a Tesla, it's different than getting a flat tire on another vehicle because you don't have a spare tire in your Tesla. Now, not that I know how to change a flat tire anyway, because I'm a prima donna and a bougie fuck, and I don't like getting my hands dirty, right? We hire people for that. Or we have AAA, which I have. Well, turns out, yeah, don't have a spare. So I called AAA to like put the spare on my tire so I could like drive to a place to get a new tire on it. They can't do it. A, I don't have a spare. B, they're not allowed to change the tires on a Tesla because Tesla has to do everything through Tesla. It's much like Apple, and they just make everything incredibly inconvenient if you try to do something outside of their system of things. So I had to call Tesla, file a service request through Tesla, which was pretty convenient. They came to my place and did the fucking tire change. You know what wasn't convenient? The $550 price tag for a fucking tire, dude. $550 for a flat tire. I mean, looks like I'm eating Trader Joe's frozen food for the next 2 weeks. I mean, what the fuck? So what a shitty start to my weekend. Not great. I mean, that's about it. You guys don't give a fuck about what I'm doing in my week, huh? I did some sessions. I did some stuff for Kevin Gates this week. I did some pitch stuff, you know, some hot shit records. I did some stuff that I can't talk about right now yet because it's I'm on NDA, but we'll move on to the news of the week. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to have to talk about is former President Donald Trump. Former reality star Donald Trump was arrested and took the funniest mugshot that I've maybe ever seen. You've seen it all over the internet. You've seen the blue steel comparisons. The dude dressed like a German model or posed like a German model. It's hilarious. I mean, it's all so funny. The whole thing is so funny. He's the first former president to have a mugshot taken. Now, all these other jurisdictions like didn't make him take a mugshot, but Fulton County in Florida made him take a mugshot. They said, you're a criminal just like everybody else. So he took the mugshot and then, of course, used it as a way to spin it to make himself this like vigilante fighter for freedom. He posted it Elon Musk reinstated his X account because, of course, he did. And his first tweet was an absolute banger. Was his mugshot, and underneath it said, "Never surrender," which is just like so fucking dorky. Dude thinks he's like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. But of course, it's like the most liked tweet in like the last 5 years. Pretty insane. He's still going to win the presidency because over this weekend they had the GOP primary. If you didn't watch it, you didn't literally miss anything. All the candidates are completely unserious. His biggest competition is probably Ron DeSantis, Meatball Ron. He's an absolute fucking clown. Ted Cruz is a schlump, you know, like Donald Trump told him that his wife was an ugly whore to his face on national television, and he still endorses him. So that guy's a fucking loser. The only candidate that I think you need to like keep an eye on, and I predicted this many months ago, not on this podcast, but just amongst friends. There's a guy named Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an Indian gentleman. He's, upon a first watch, he's like incredibly articulate, well-spoken. He's smart as fuck. He's got some interesting perspectives on certain issues. But then, like, the more you watch him, you realize, like, oh, this guy's actually a fucking nutcase also. Like, oh, this guy's kind of a fascist too, right? But he's like a big gun guy. He's like a huge gun guy, which, you know, there was another mass shooting, or like a couple mass shootings in the last 3 days. We could talk about that maybe. Yeah, we'll talk about that after. Anyway, Trump's going to still get the nomination because, unfortunately for Vivek Ramaswamy, he's just like, I don't think he's got enough of a platform yet, and everybody's just still going to vote for Trump. They asked all the candidates on stage, like, would you still vote for Donald Trump despite him being a criminal, despite him having like 100 counts against him? Would you still vote for him? And all these fucking pussies on stage were like, yeah, I would, because they're scared to lose the votes from people that fuck with Trump. So they're all fucking losers. So it's going to be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden again. And I'm going to start sending radio signals to outer space to get the aliens to hurry up and put us out of our fucking misery, because I can't do it again. I can't do it again. For fuck's sake. Yeah, another mass shooting over the weekend. Like 3 of them. There was a shooting at a baseball game also. But there was a mass shooting at a high school game with an AR-15. You know, what else is there to say about it? Every time this happens, like, gun enthusiasts rush to Twitter or rush to X to say, like, guns don't kill people. People kill people. You know, people don't blame the cars when there's a drunk driving accident. You blame the driver. It's like, yeah, well, like, a drunk driver can't kill 100 people in under 3 minutes, you know? That's the difference. Let's think 3-dimensionally, right? Guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yeah, but if a person is killing somebody every day, if we got a mass shooting every day, then semantics don't really matter, do they? Doesn't really matter what we're saying is the thing that's killing in the it's at the end of the fucking day, the vehicle is killing all these people. So maybe we should ban the vehicle. Yeah? Whatever. It's a fucking broken record with this. They're never going to change it. I don't even know why we fight for it. Moving on. Tech news. The stuff that I enjoy talking about. So right before I got here, I was scrolling Instagram, and I got a pop-up notification from Instagram, which asked if I wanted to join their ad program. Congratulations, you've got X amount of views on your Reels. Opt in to start getting ads on your Reels and receiving monetization. So now, while you're scrolling Reels, like on YouTube, you're going to start seeing ads on Reels. Now, I didn't opt into this because I know that people are going to just be like, what the fuck, and swipe past, and they're not going to want to watch it, right? Which is going to happen initially until people get used to it. But I started thinking, like, holy fuck, why are there so many ads everywhere? I feel like I'm seeing more ads than I've ever seen in my life. There are so many fucking ads on every app that I go on, everywhere, all the time. It's just cluttered. I remember when like it used to be like 1 out of every 30 tweets or 1 out of every 30 posts on Instagram, or you'd be on Amazon and like at the bottom of the page it'd be like suggested other, and there'd be ads, or like, you know, now it's right in your fucking face whenever you open any app, and they're everywhere all the time. So I looked into it. I'm like, why the fuck are we seeing so many ads? I found a great video that really explained this and opened my third eye to much of to this realization. We're seeing more ads right now than we've seen in all of human history. Okay? In like the 70s and 80s, we saw around 500 ads a day, right? That number obviously ramped up a little bit into this century, or into this decade, right? Today, we're seeing over 10,000 ads a day. 10,000. 10,000 ads a day. Think back on your day. Think of all the things you've done in your day. Okay? You've been consuming propaganda from companies for 10,000 ads a day. Okay? Why? Well, a large part of it is we're seeing far less targeted ads today. Okay? So you know, like on iPhone, when you open an app or you get a pop-up from an app and it says, do you want this app to track you? Right? Do you want this app to track you? Do you allow this app to follow you and pull all your data? Well, obviously you say no, right? Well, what happens is you're then giving that company less data, because privacy has become a big issue for tech companies. And what a lot of these tech companies are doing, they're starting to ask these questions because they don't want to have any real legislation come down that really protects them or protects you from data collection. So they're doing these like little bumper car data protection things. It's the same reason if you go on a website and it asks you, do you want to accept cookies? The first episode I ever did on this podcast is about cookies. We talk about cookies and this exact thing. And you say, no, I don't want the fucking app. I don't want this website to take my cookies, right? It's because they have to do that for data privacy. So by us giving much less data and way less info, these companies have less data to go off of when targeting advertising. And targeted ads pay far more than non-targeted ads. So what happens is these companies have to make up for it by 20xing the ads. Because the thought is, well, you know, we may not land on one ad, but if we send you 100 ads, you might like something that we show you, right? It's why you're seeing some ads that are like, what the fuck? I've never even thought about baby powder. Why am I getting an ad for that? You know? So yeah, think about it like that. Less data collected, more ads you see. Additionally, interest rates are up. The economy is fucked. And because of that, these tech companies who have VCs who are like, yo, where's the money? Okay, they need to start seeing return on their investment. You can't just show users anymore to these VC guys. They need to see revenue coming in, right? So what do you do when you need revenue? You print ads everywhere, okay? And it works. You'll see a lot of tech companies for the first time are turning a profit. A lot of these tech companies have literally never turned a profit. And now they're starting to turn a profit. That's why. Look, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But eventually, you know, interest rates will go down. The economy will correct itself. Data collection will become even more seamless through AI. We're not going to have to opt in to give them our data. AI will just be able to collect it pretty easily, right? Because we do volunteer enough data out there for these companies to be able to get it. And additionally, like, people are going to just leave the apps that have too much ad clutter. So these companies, that's what happened a couple, like 5 years ago. all these ad companies or these tech companies had to like cut back on advertising because there were so many apps that weren't showing any advertising, right? So yeah, that's that on that. Big music news. So BMI, which is a major music performing rights organization, or a PRO as it's known, is reportedly up for sale for a second time this year. So basically, if you don't know what BMI is or like what a PRO is, they collect a blanket licensing fee from businesses that use music, right? So anytime like a business plays a song or, a movie or a TV show syncs a song, they have to go through BMI and their repertoire of over 20 million musical works and they collect on that money. So every musician, be it a producer, writer, artist, whatever, you have a PRO. So the two big ones are BMI and ASCAP. I am with BMI, and I'm actually very close with the people at BMI. Shout out Sam Cox. She's a legend. 10 months ago, BMI shifted from a nonprofit to a for-profit. Okay? So this was kind of a big deal, and a lot of songwriting organizations were like a little like, kind of side-eyeing it a little bit, like, how is this going to affect our songwriters, right? Not much concern was raised because, the CEO was basically saying like, hey, we're making more money to give more opportunities for songwriters. This is a good thing. And we were all like, okay, cool, right? Well, now rumors are suggesting that New Mountain Capital, which is a private equity firm, is considering buying BMI for around $1.7 billion. Now, it was like reported that they bought it, and then they said that wasn't confirmed yet. I think it's probably gone through already, and they're trying to get their messaging together, and so they're acting like it's not confirmed, but I think it's been done. So what happened is, this news breaks, and a lot of songwriter organizations and songwriters like myself, have a lot of questions about it. And it's like, okay, like, first of all, you're doing this $1.7 billion sale predicated on your catalog. Are we being compensated for that? Like, do we get a cut of that? Because you're selling this catalog because you own all this music that's our music. So do we get a cut of the $1.7 billion sale? Because if I go and sell my catalog, I get that much. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? That's our first question. How will the potential sale affect distribution rates and earnings for songwriters? Can BMI assure that private equity owners won't prioritize profits over songwriters' earnings? Because, private equity firms have a history of being predatory and only caring about the bottom line and turning a profit. So you've shifted from a nonprofit to a for-profit, and now you're selling to a private equity firm. Do you think that a private equity firm gives a fuck about my royalties? No, they don't, right? So my question to Mike O'Neill, who's the CEO of BMI, is how are you ensuring that all of your clients' royalties, which are already so fucked, right? We're already getting absolutely shafted in a back alley. How can you assure that when you sell to, what's the name of this fucking company? When you sell to New Mountain Capital, how can you ensure that New Mountain Capital is going to have my best interests in mind when they do anything? Or can you? You can't, can you? So these are questions that we would like answered. Now, Mike O'Neill responded to a lot of these concerns, emphasizing BMI's commitment to supporting songwriters and growing their earnings, which in his defense, they've done that, right? They fight for their writers and have historically. But it's just not a comforting feeling in the midst of all this while the WGA is striking and SAG is striking and all these big tech companies are just being predatory and just, creators are making less money than they've ever made. It's not great for my PRO to get acquired by a VC firm. Just another great day to be a songwriter, huh? Woo! Musician. Should have gone into law. Should have just been a lawyer. Maybe should have gone into accounting. Got a business degree. Didn't use it. Could have done anything else. All good. This show brought to you by Liquid Death. No, it's not. It's not sponsored. So disregard that. I just really wanted to use my EA Sports voice. My ESPN voice. Brought to you by Heineken. Our main topic today. I got a comment on my video that I posted this week. I had Bryce Vine on last week, good friend of mine. And we were talking about country music and how country music has crossed over to pop lately. And how pop music is being infiltrated by country. And he left a comment that really stuck with me. So Nick Noir, subscriber to the channel, big fan of the pod, he said, I'm of the belief that pop music isn't a genre. And you know what? He's right. Because today, in 2023, pop music is not a genre. Pop music is all over the fucking place. Pop music is really just popular music. You know? Hip-hop, rap songs can cross over to pop so long as they have a melodic hook. We're seeing country cross over to pop. We have singer-songwriter pop. We have fucking dance pop. We have, Steve Lacy pop. I knew you wanted me. We're all over the fucking place. It's all pop radio. It's all top 40. Now, it used to be a genre. Pop music used to be a genre. It used to have a distinct sound. In the golden era of pop, which I refer to as the Max Martin era. If you don't know who Max Martin is, he's a Swedish producer / songwriter who was responsible for all your favorite songs of the 2000s. Max Martin is, now that's what I call music. Max Martin is totally hits, right? He wrote everything back in the day. He controlled pop music. He had a fucking stranglehold on pop music. And all pop music either went through him or used his formula. Producers like, Dr. Luke, Red One, these guys who also had huge pop smashes, a lot of them were with Max Martin or would use a similar formula that he created. Let's talk about the Max Martin formula first. So, I'm a huge songwriter nerd, right? I've been doing this for my whole life, and I've been studying it my whole life. And I write a disgusting amount of songs. I've been writing a little, I've kind of transitioned into more of like a tech role. Once I realized that songwriting doesn't pay for fucking shit, I started to hyper-focus the stuff that I do and really only worked on either passion projects that pay me, major artists that are more focused and easier than just taking blind half-court shots. Because much of the songwriting game today, it's just, you're pitching, you're just praying to God. You're just throwing up fucking Steph Curry Hail Marys from out of bounds at the tunnel. You know what I mean? So I've been more hyper-focused on where I'm shooting my shots. But before that, when I was coming up in the writing game, I would write, and I'm not exaggerating, 400 songs a year. Maybe more. I was doing 6 sessions a week, sometimes more. And, when you write so many songs and you listen and you study the pop formula, you have to start with Max Martin. You got to study Max Martin. So Max Martin has something called melodic math. What I call the 4M formula. I don't know if he coined this. He probably should have, but it's Max Martin melodic math. And that's an alliteration. So, the way Max Martin approaches songs, there's a few things that he does that are incredibly important. And we're going to go through a couple examples that really highlight this. So, he's got something, rule number one of the Max Martin melodic math formula is, does it sing good? Does it sing good? Does it sound good? when you say the words, when you sing the words, do they roll off the tongue? Are they easy? The best example of this is I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys. I want it that way. You're going to have to forgive my voice because I don't have auto-tune on this mic. But let's look at I Want It That Way. So I Want It That Way has an incredible, famous story. He wrote I Want It That Way for Backstreet Boys, and it was a smash, right? It hadn't come out yet. The label loved it. Everybody loved it. But the problem with I Want It That Way is if you look at the words, they don't make any fucking sense. Okay? The song makes no sense. Max Martin is super Swedish. The dude is a Swede, right? He's super Swedish. And he doesn't, especially back in the day, maybe didn't quite have the greatest grasp on the English language. And it's why a lot of his hits, if you listen to them and you really look at the lyrics, they don't make sense. So like Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time. What the fuck is she talking about? Hit me, baby, one more time. Huh? Okay? You still don't know what that song exactly means. Does she mean fuck me one more time? Does she mean hit me up? And you look at the lyrics of the song, makes no sense. So when Max Martin submits I Want It That Way to the label's like, hey, we love this song. The melodies are incredible, which we'll talk about later. The melodies are incredible, but the words don't make sense. So we're going to bring in some other writers to change these words to make it make sense. So first, let's look at the original. Let's look at the hook. So the original song is, tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Right? Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never want to hear you say I want it that way. That makes no fucking sense. What are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. It's not even proper English, right? So there's an alternate version that they made. And this song is called No Goodbyes. And the reason is it goes, this is how the alternate version of I Want It That Way goes when they brought in the new writers. It goes, no goodbyes ain't nothing but a heartache. No more lies ain't nothing but a mistake. That is why I love it when I hear you say, I want it that way. Okay, now that makes sense in English. No goodbyes ain't nothing but a heartache. No more lies ain't nothing but a mistake. That is why I love it when I hear you say, I want it that way. But if you listen to it, and I'm not going to play it on here because, again, I'll be demonetized. You can find it on YouTube. It just doesn't hit the same. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Tell me why versus no goodbyes, no more lies. That is why, like, it just doesn't hit the same as tell me why. And you can sing along with that. Like, if you're at a concert, you're just, tell me why. Like, you feel that. You know what I mean? So what did they do? They went with the original. And it was a fucking smash because it all sings so easy. It's so easy off the tongue. And it doesn't matter what the words are. It doesn't matter. I mean, how many times have we heard people say that? People don't care about lyrics anymore. People really never fucking cared about lyrics. They kind of do, and there's obviously instances, but most of your favorite hit songs that you grew up to, it's about the melody. And he had the formula down. What else? Let's keep looking at I Want It That Way, because there's other great goodies in there as far as pop writing goes. Another thing that's big, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Max Martin was incredibly repetitive in the stuff that he did. And people think it's a detriment, but truly it's they're earworms. And repetition allows you as a listener and a consumer to like know the song better and make it catchier. And it's another reason that the OG version hit harder. Tell me why he ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why he ain't nothing a mistake. Tell me why tell me why, tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Repetitive, repetitive, repetitive. Versus no goodbyes, no more lies. That is why. It's just harder to keep up with. And that repetition makes the song catchier. And he also uses this in a technique called a glue hook, which is, sometimes he'll use the same words that are in the hook in the verses or in different sections to kind of like implant the idea and introduce a fragment of it earlier in the song to like seed the listeners. Something you might not consciously notice. He does it with melodies too. They're called melodic previews. So, and I want it that way in the verse. The verse goes, let's see. You are my fire, the one desire. Believe when I say I want it that way. It's in the fucking verse. So you've heard the hook. You've heard the lyrics of the hook. You've heard the melody of the hook before you've heard the hook. So when the hook comes, you already know it. You know the words. You know the melody. By the second line, you're fucking singing along at the top of your lungs. The Max Martin formula. This dude was a fucking machine. Okay? What else did he do? Let's talk about the melodies. Something that he did that I implement in pretty much every song that I write, and what a lot of great pop writers will do. You obviously can't force it, but he cycles when sections begin on the beat. So what that means is, if the verse begins on the offbeat, the pre will maybe begin on a pickup, and then the hook will start on the one. So if you're thinking of like the beat, like dun 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 dun, I was thinking about the verse, right? And then the pre will be like bum 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 till you dun 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 dun, pre, right? And then the hook will be tell me why he ain't nothing but a heartache on the one. And when you cycle it this way, it keeps the song unpredictable, but it all fits like a fucking puzzle, right? It's a formula. And it keeps the song from feeling stale. And another thing he does that is really big that they don't really do today is, the vocal production. He sets it up for climaxes. I'm a big vocal producer, and I'm very passionate about vocal producing. And something that you don't really see in pop music today is all the choruses were different. So on the first chorus, it would be, it'd be a normal vocal. And then the second chorus, he would build it up, either with a stronger vocal performance or more backgrounds. And then that final chorus, it would be a fucking big climax, built up, big ting. Sometimes he'd even do a fucking key change. He did a key change on I Want It That Way. It that way, tell me why. And then it just fucking lifts up and you're like, oh my fucking God. Right? Anyway. All right. So the Max Martin era is over. The Max Martin formula is dead. Boy bands withered away into the distance. There's barely any out anymore. There's no prototype pop stars anymore. And there's no prototype pop songs anymore. Very, very few, very few, very few. Why? Now, I think most of it can be attributed to just a change in musical trends, right? So, like, musical trends are constantly evolving. Pop music is no exception. When genres like hip-hop and rap and electronic dance have gained mainstream prominence, and that has led to a diversification of sound in the pop genre. Right. So like we talked about, like pop music is it's really just popular music. There's so many mainstream music options now that it's all kind of blended into just a big mosh posh of different shit. That accompanied with DIY. It's so easy now for anybody to make a song. Like back in the day, to make a song, you had to be in a studio that cost $2,000 with a $2 million mixing board and fucking tape and all this stuff, a sound-treated booth. And now I can do an album with this. I could do it on this. I could do it on a Shure if I wanted to, a Shure mic. an interface. I could do it in either Pro Tools or fucking GarageBand if I really wanted to get gritty. People are recording songs on their iPhone, and they sound okay. They sound good enough. You know what I mean? And the reality is, like, going viral and breaking out is accessible by everyone. Creating is accessible by everyone. Breaking out is accessible by everyone. So S-tier production value is less prominent. You don't need it. It's not an end-all, be-all like it used to be. You don't have to go to a super producer anymore. You understand? Additionally, technology has changed on the consumption side. So streaming. Let me have some water. All this yelling and all this singing is getting my voice a little riled up. Anyway, streaming and digital platforms. The rise of streaming platforms has changed how music is consumed now. So artists now have the flexibility to experiment with different genres, and listeners also have that accessibility. Artists can consume, they can file through and search, and algorithms will give them different shit that's adjacent to what they like, and you don't have to just listen to the radio anymore. You don't have to just tune into MTV or VH1, right? Is that siren loud? You think it's getting picked up? That's just another day in Los Angeles. You guys can fucking deal with it. And we're not even going to cut that. We're giving you the authentic LA experience here in Hollywood. All right. And the last thing that I think, this is going to be a hot take and people aren't going to fucking like it. But you know what? I don't care. There's an emphasis on authenticity. And while there are good things to it, I think it often leads to artists getting in their own fucking way and putting out subpar product. In recent years, there's been a growing emphasis on individuality and authenticity in music. Artists and listeners prioritize uniqueness and personal expressions over conforming to like a formulaic pop sound, right? And that sounds good, and there are good things about it. But the problem is that the music that comes out today isn't polished. And while we enjoy certain things about that, have you noticed how much less hitty the hits are? Have you noticed how much less catchy and fucking incredibly poppy and great the songs are? And the lack of pop stars that there are? We've talked about it like 2 episodes ago. The writing today is undisciplined. I'm going to sound like such a pretentious fucking asshole, but I don't care. The songs, not only, are they not landing because of all the other issues that artists are facing in terms of like captivating viewers, but all these subconscious earworm hooky things that you had in the early 2000s and the 90s and the 80s that worked, you don't have it today because everything is so like, yeah, I'm just an artist and this is how I express myself and this is my song and I don't care that it doesn't have a formula and I don't care. And, well, hey, you're wondering why you're not staying? And why the songs are going... The reason they're doing that is because then the writing is not disciplined. It's not polished. Or the production value's not there. Or the quality's not there. All these like pop songs and pop artists and a lot of these pop writers, they want to be singer-songwriters strictly. There's a world for it. But like everybody wants to be fucking Olivia Rodrigo right now. Everybody wants to be like, I was sipping on my wine glass in a broken apartment and I thinking about the things you wrote in those letters and when I crashed my car in Nebraska and the roads were getting rocky and it's like, stop with that. Get out of here. Knock it off. There's a world for it. There's a lane for it. There's people that do it really well, but most of it is dog shit. It's boring. I'm going to go to bed. I'm sleepy. I mean, Bring back Britney. I guess Britney is coming back. Whatever version of her it is. But bring back Britney. Bring back NSYNC. Bring back the boy band era. Dude, do you remember the boy band era? There were these boy bands just fucking popping up, and with a bunch of, it was like 6 like guys who are just like generic, and like Ozone. I'm not talking about NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, obviously, but like Ozone, 98 Degrees. You don't know what these motherfuckers looked like, or you don't know anything about them, but the songs fucking slapped. They were bangers, dude. Bring it back. You know, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, they all had unique personalities, but they didn't have to express it in their music. And it didn't matter. You still knew who they were and knew about them a little bit, but the music was undeniable. And today's pop music is defined by its versatility, genre blurring, the freedom for artists to explore a wide array of like musical expressions. And that's great. And there has been great music that's come because of that. But we don't have the star power anymore. We don't have the just perfect formulaic pop, prototype pop star. Do you know who our only hope is? You're not going to believe what I'm about to say. I think the next great hope to bring back the pop star era is Addison Rae. There it is. Addison Rae. Addison Rae is the great hope to return to the pop music glory days, because you don't give a fuck about Addison Rae's personality. We don't care about, and Addison Rae doesn't give a fuck about it. The songs that Addison Rae have put out or leaked, that have been leaked, are incredible pop songs. And I would love nothing more than to just have artists who, and again, this is going to sound a little fucked up if you can't handle what I'm about to say. We need to bring back pop stars who understand that they're products. Oops. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, dude. Fucking relax. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to be, like, you can be hands-on creatively and, like, of your brand. Obviously. It's you. Obviously. But you're a vessel to communicate incredible works to the world. There are lanes for the Kendrick Lamars and the fucking, the people who make music that's authentically them and their DNA is everywhere. But there also is a lane and a world for these just like pop artists who just make great songs and put them out, and you don't fucking care that their DNA isn't interwoven into the song. Hit me, baby, one more time. Doesn't matter who Britney Spears is and what her charisma and her personalities are. She's a fucking star. The song's incredible. I mean, The Idol was a terrible show. I mean, it was such a bad show. But the good example in The Idol was that, like, she had these hit pop records, and the label was like, yo, these fucking pop songs are great. We're going to put out this pop song. And the song sucked, but the idea is it's a pop song that's just like a great pop song. And she was like, I want to do something that's artsy and me. And it was dog shit. And so many artists are getting in their own way, trying to like make their song them and interweave their DNA into this song. And they don't know how to write. And also, like, most artists, and I have a lot of artist friends, okay? And again, this doesn't apply to all. I don't know why I feel like I have to like tiptoe. I don't give a fuck. A lot of artists don't know what they want. They don't know what's best for them. Because as an artist, and I'm an artist, so I can say this. I'm not only like an artist, but I'm a creator. You have blinders on when you look at your stuff. Everything you make as an artist is the hottest shit you've ever made. You need people who don't give a fuck about you to tell you if some shit is hot or not. Like labels. I'm not saying you need labels, but what labels do sometimes is they don't care about you. They care about what's going to make them money and make you money and be a hit. Now, the problem is labels don't know what a hit is today. They used to. They don't anymore. But back in the day, a label who doesn't give a fuck about you, the person, but gives a fuck about you, the artist, would tell you that's a great fucking song for you. And it's a hit. And the best A&Rs today are the same way. The best A&Rs in music are the ones that can look at an artist and their brand and them as a product and say, this song is not only a hit, but it works for you. And a great A&R won't let an artist get in their way. Oh, do I have a story that I would love to share? I don't know if I can share it. I'm going to share it as vaguely as I can share it. I did a song for an artist 2 years ago. It was a fucking smash. This artist was poised to break out. Okay? I'm not just saying it was a smash because I think it's a smash. I'm saying it because it was a smash. And also because the label loved it and was obsessed with it. And the artist loved it. Everybody loved it. We're ready to go. The countdown has started to launching you into stardom. But for some reason, the artist wanted to bring in another writer because it didn't feel authentically like her, and she wanted to try to change it and give her own DNA in it. And then that started happening, and then the song started morphing into something different that just didn't hit the same because I'm a fucking disciplined pop writer, and the other writer I did it with and the producer I did it with, we're disciplined, we're seasoned, we're professionals, okay? We know what the fuck we're doing. And the song never came out because it got fucked, okay? And then another shittier song was released. It flopped. And then another song flopped. And then the artist got dropped. Well, what happened a few weeks ago? A song with the same title that felt incredibly similar came out. And it's a hit. And that artist is popping off and exploding right now. Same lane, same style, same song, basically. Oops. I mean, it's a perfect example. I mean, I don't plan these perfect examples. It's not in my notes, but here it is. In real life. Anyway, please save us, Addison Rae. Man, you wait. That's my fucking goal for the next 7 months is get on that Addison Rae album. I got to get in with Addison Rae. I'm going to make it happen. We're going to manifest it. You watch. Okay. To end our show today, we're going to do everyone's favorite segment, which we haven't done one in a couple of weeks because there hasn't really been a worthy inductee. But this week's FOH HOF, the fuck out of here Hall of Fame, Marjorie Harvey. Let's talk about Marjorie Harvey, who cheated on Steve Harvey with his bodyguard. And now she wants a divorce. And she's also demanding $200 million of his net worth. Okay. First of all, Marjorie, you know? Her name's Marjorie. Now, that's unfortunate as is, because when I hear Marjorie, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's the worst human being on earth. Your name's Marjorie. That's your first mistake. Your second mistake, you cheated on one of the most famous people in the world. You cheated on a legendary, iconic comedian who not only is like just one of the GOAT comedians ever, he's also like one of the greatest show hosts ever. Everybody fucking loves him. I mean, not everybody, but most people love him. And Steve Harvey loves her and does nothing but praise the ground she walks on and just talk about his wife all the time. There's this horribly sad thing that's been circulating because this news has come out where he's like giving a speech talking about how much he loves his wife in front of like at some award show. Like he dedicates his whole acceptance speech to how grateful he is for his wife and how much he loves his wife. And this fucking slag just cheats on him with the bodyguard. I mean, for fuck's sake, how fucking predictable, you know? It's always the fucking bodyguard or the gardener or the pool boy. I mean, These affairs, total snooze fest. Anyway, the absolute audacity, the unmitigated gall to cheat on this mega iconic comedian game show host that loves you and adores you and sings your praise, and then to demand a divorce, and then to demand $200 million of your net worth. Go fuck yourself. I mean, this dude, I don't know what their marriage is like behind closed doors, and maybe it's terrible. I don't fucking know. But, I mean, the guy just sings her praises all the time. And then I'm on the internet, and all these fucking guys are like, well, Steve Harvey was a simp. That's why she cheated on him. Steve Harvey always was a simp, always like telling his wife how much he loves her and telling her how beautiful she is publicly. That's his fucking wife, dude. A simp? It's your wife. Does toxic masculinity have y'all so fucked up that you don't know that, like, you're allowed to tell people you love your wife? You can tell your wife you love her? That motherfucker Steve Harvey, man. He was always talking about how much he loved his wife. What a fucking dork. What a beta male. You motherfuckers are watching a little too much Andrew Tate. You think your wife's going to leave you because you're a simp? Your wife's going to leave you because you treat her like shit and you don't compliment her ever. And you don't tell her you love her. Okay? That's how your wife leaves you. That's how your girlfriend leaves you. Not because you do tell her you love her. Steve Harvey's wife didn't cheat on him because he was telling her he loves her too much and he's a simp. She cheated on him because, whatever. She's 50-something and probably wants to fuck something else. And she's a whore. Okay. We're going to end the show on that note. Steve Harvey, I got your back, bro. Stay strong, man. You'll be all right. You're worth like fucking $1 billion. I'm sure you'll be fine. Okay. Hey, guys, that's it. I want to thank you for listening to Good Luck this week. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you know what to do. 5 stars, leave a fucking comment. Tell me your favorite part of the episode. If you're on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button while you're at it. And then why don't you go in the comments and ask me a question. Maybe that's what we're going to do. I'll answer a question from the comment section next week. Maybe that's something we can start implementing into the show. Huh? Maybe not. Maybe I fucking won't. Who knows? Maybe I'll get some questions that suck and I'll just completely ignore them. That's it. Thanks for listening to Good Luck. I'm your host, Gino the Ghost. Until next week, good night and good luck.
Good night and good luck. You smile and say goodbye to me, but I don't give a fuck. You hop in the Uber, off to your future. Good night and good luck. You try to play your cards with me, but I'm calling your bluff. Cause it wasn't enough. Night and good luck.